She bleached my grandmother's prize-winning roses because they clashed with the neighborhood aesthetic. So I planted invasive running bamboo under her foundation and watched her home equity crumble. I know that sounds illegal, but hear me out. It was strictly botanical warfare. Let's talk about Brenda. Brenda was the HOA president, a woman who had weaponized the color beige. She had a haircut that looked like a Lego helmet and walked around with a literal tape measure in a holster to check grass height. Brenda didn't have hobbies, she had citations. She smelled like mothballs and judgment. Brenda hated color. If it wasn't a shade of sand, taupe, or sadness, it was a violation. The violation happened on a Saturday. I had a row of heritage roses along my fence line. These weren't Home Depot bushes. They were cuttings from my late grandmother's garden. They were vibrant pink and smelled like heaven. I came home from grocery shopping to find the bushes turning a sickly, ghostly white. The leaves were curling. The air reeked of Clorox. Brenda was standing on the sidewalk making notes on her clipboard. "Oh, good," she chirped, not even looking up. "I took care of that eyesore. Pink really isn't in the covenants, dear. We prefer neutral earth tones." She had poured straight industrial bleach on the roots. My grandmother's roses were dead before I even parked the car. I stood there, gripping a bag of frozen peas, shaking. I wanted to scream. I wanted to tackle her into her perfectly manicured zoysia grass, but I didn't. I called the police. They said without video proof, it was a civil matter. I went to the HOA board meeting. Brenda was the board. She fined me $50 for improper disposal of dead plant matter regarding the roses she killed. That fine was the catalyst. The sadness evaporated, replaced by a cold, hard need for destruction. I went online and researched botanical herpes. I needed something unkillable, something aggressive, something that didn't just grow but conquered. I found it, Philistachys oreosulcata, yellow groove running bamboo. It grows up to 3 feet a day. Its roots can punch through asphalt. Once it's in the ground, the only way to get rid of it is to excavate the earth with a backhoe or move. I waited for a moonless night. I put on all black, like a ninja of agriculture. I crept to the property line where her pristine beige vinyl fence met the soil. I dug 3 deep holes right against her foundation and fence line. I planted the rhizomes. But I didn't just plant them, I juiced them. I poured a gallon of high-nitrogen fertilizer into the soil. I watered them with the care of a midwife. Then I waited. Phase 1, the sprout. 2 weeks later, the first green spikes poked through the soil on her side. They looked innocent, just little grassy shoots. Brenda plucked them out. Phase 2, the invasion. Bamboo doesn't care if you pluck the top. The roots were already spreading underground, a silent network of destruction moving toward her plumbing. A week later, 10 shoots appeared, then 20. Brenda was out there every day with a weed whacker, sweating, cursing. Where are these coming from? She screeched. Phase 3, the breach. This was the cinematic climax. I woke up one morning to a glorious sound, the crack of vinyl. A bamboo shoot had grown so fast and so hard that it had punched straight through her expensive fence. Another one had erupted in the middle of her driveway, cracking the concrete slab like an eggshell. Brenda was in her driveway in her bathrobe, sobbing. She was pouring Roundup on the shoots, but running bamboo laughs at poison. It drinks it like Gatorade. I walked out to get my mail, sipping coffee. "Morning, Brenda," I called out cheerfully. "The landscaping looks vigorous, very earthy." She spun around, eyes wild, holding a bottle of herbicide like a grenade. You did this. These are weeds." "Actually," I said, pointing to the monster stalk currently lifting her AC unit off its concrete pad, "I think that's nature's revenge. Maybe it just didn't like your aesthetic." The aftermath was brutal. The bamboo got into her sewer line. It grew up through the floorboards of her sunroom. Her house became unsellable. She had to hire an excavation crew to dig a 6-foot trench around her entire property, costing her thousands. She eventually resigned from the board and moved to a condo. She killed my roses, so I turned her property into a jungle. And sometimes, late at night, I swear I can still hear the bamboo growing.